viewers, welcome to today's lesson. This is Form 1 Mathematics under Fractions. But before we begin, for those who are watching our channel for the first time, kindly we request that you subscribe so that anytime we do a video like this, you'll automatically be notified. Welcome to this topic under fractions. And we are going to go straight to our first question, that is under evaluate. We have a third of into brackets 2 3/4 minus 5.5. You multiply by 3, 6/7, you divide by 4/9. Anytime you are doing a question from fractions, it tests on a number of operations, bearing in mind that in mathematics we have 4 basic operations, namely multiplication, we have addition, we have division, and subtraction. We also have another additional operation of which is a special sign of multiplication. So anytime now you are going to do a question from here, we are going to use the order called BODMAS. That is, you have to work with brackets first, then you go to OFF, which is a special type of multiplication. We go to division, multiplication, addition, and lastly subtraction in that order. Looking at this question, we have OFF, we have brackets, we have multiplication, and again division. But according to the order in which these questions are supposed to be done, we are going to start with the brackets. That is, from the brackets, we are going to convert those mixed fractions into improper fractions. We have 2 3/4, which is the same as 4 times 2 will give us 8, plus 3 we have 11 out of 4, then minus we have 5.5, which is 2 times 5, 10, plus 1, this is 11 over 2. So from these two brackets, that is from the brackets, we have 11 over 4 minus 11 over 2. The LCM between 4 and 2 is 4. Then 4 goes to 4 once, times 11 we have 11, minus 2 goes to 4 2 times 11, we are going to have 22, and from brackets 11 minus 22 we have minus 11 over 4. We are through with the brackets. Now we go to the next operation, which is OFF. OFF is between a third and the bracket. So our next step is going to be a third. OFF means multiplication. Whatever we got from the brackets is minus 11 out of 4, and this one is going to give us positive 1 times minus 11 will give us negative 11. Then 3 times 4 will give us 12. So we are through with this part and this part. Now we are going to our next step, which is whatever we have gotten from here and here, we are going to have minus 11 over 12. Then we have times. This is a mixed fraction. We convert it into improper. 7 times 3 is 21 plus 6. We are going to have 27 out of 7. Then we divide by 9 out of 4. From here, we are remaining with 2 operations, that is multiplication and division. From our order, we are supposed to do division first. That is to say, with this one here, we are going to have 27 out of 7. We multiply by, this is 4 out of 9. 9 goes to itself once, it goes to 27 3 times, and the answer to this one here is going to give us 12 out of 7. So from the bracket here, from this division, we have 12 over 7. Now we go forward and say, what we have here is minus 11 over 12. We are going to multiply with 12 out of 7. 12 goes to itself once, it goes here once. So that we have minus 11 out of 7. And that is the answer as an improper fraction, but you can also express your answer as a mixed fraction. 7 goes to 11 how many times? It goes to 11 once. Then the remainder is 4 out of 7, but the whole answer is negative, and that is the answer to that question. Going to our second question. Question is a word problem. It reads, 3 people, Odawa, Mliwa, and Amina, contributed money to purchase a flour mill. Odawa contributed a third of the total amount. Mliwa contributed 3/8 of the remaining amount, and Amina contributed the rest of the money. The difference in contribution between Mliwa and Amina was shilling 40,000. We are supposed to calculate the price of the flour mill. This question is equally very simple. We are supposed to interpret it into figures, and we will be able to. Now, let us look at the solution to this question. I'm going to divide my working space into two. That is, we have Odawa. We have Odawa here. We have Amina. And we have Mliwa. Now, the first thing you need to understand is that we do not know the amount of money they were supposed to use to buy the flour mill, and therefore the assumption is the total amount is always equal to 1. Whether it's 1 million, 20,000, 1,000, or even 100 bob, the total amount is always assumed to be 1, and from there we will be able to work out the question without any problem. Now, Odawa contributed a third of the total amount, which is 1, and a third of 1 is going to give us a third, and this is what Odawa contributed. Then we have Mliwa contributed 3/8 of the remaining. So we have to calculate the remaining after the contribution made by Odawa. The remaining amount is going to be equal to the total, which is 1, minus a third, and whenever you work that one out, we are going to get 2 out of 3. Then from there we can calculate what Mliwa contributed. Mliwa contributed 3/8 of the remaining amount, and the remaining amount is 2/3. From here, this one here is once, it goes here 4, then this and this one goes, this one gives us a quarter, and a quarter is the amount of money that Mliwa contributed. Then Amina contributed the rest. So how do we get the rest? We have to calculate the amount of the fraction of the money that is contributed by Odawa and Mliwa. Then the rest is going to be contributed by Amina. So to get what Amina contributed will be equal to the total amount minus what the two have so far contributed, which is a third. We add a quarter, and this one will give us. So if you talk about a third plus a quarter, we are going to get 7 out of 12. Then the remaining amount will be 1 minus 7 over 12, that is for both Odawa and Mliwa, and this gives us 5 out of 12, and this is the fraction that Amina contributed. But we are told the difference between the contribution of Amina and Mliwa is 40,000. That means if you take Amina's contribution minus what Muliwa contributed. This one will give us a total of 40,000. From here, we know the contribution of Amina is 5/12 minus Muliwa, which is a quarter. This one is going to give us, that is 5/12 minus a quarter. It is going to give us a sixth. That is, you can get the LCM, then you work it out that way. So our 1/6 is equivalent to 40,000 Kenya shillings. So if a sixth is equivalent to 40,000 Kenya shillings, we are supposed to calculate the price of the flour mill, and the total amount required to buy the flour mill is 1. So we ask ourselves, what about 1? So it is going to be 1 times 40,000. We divide by a sixth, and this is going to give us 1 times 40, it's 40,000. Then we take the reciprocal, there is going to be 6/1, and the total amount here is going to be 240,000, and that is the answer to this question. That is the answer. Going to our question number 3, which is again a word problem, but under fractions. The question reads, Kutu withdrew some money from a bank. Then he spent 3/8 of the money to pay Mutua's school fees and 2/5 or 2/5 for Tatu's school fees. If we remained with a total of Kenya shillings 12,330, calculate the amount of money he paid for Tatu's school fees. Before we calculate what he paid for Tatu's school fees, we need to know the total amount of money that Kutu withdrew. Since we do not know the total amount of money withdrawn, the assumption always must be the total amount withdrawn must always be equal to 1. Always equal to 1. Then from there, he spent 3/8 of the money to pay Mutua's school fees. Now, Mutua's fees took 3/8 of the total amount, which is 1, and this gives us 3/8. And I want to circle so that you can easily identify that 3/8 is what went to Mutua's school fees. Then 2/5 for Tatu's school fees. Not 2/5 of the remaining, but 2/5, and therefore Tatu's fees took exactly 2/5 of 2/5. Then it is actually 2/5 of the total amount, because there is nothing like the remainder in that statement. If we remained with 12,330, now for us to find the remainder, we need to know the amount that went to Mutua's school fees and the amount that went to Tatu's school fees. So total spent is going to be equal to 3/8. We add 2/5, and this one here is going to give us what? We can use a calculator direct. We have 3/8 plus 2/5, and this one is going to give us 31/40. From there we can get the remaining. So for us to get the remaining will be gotten from the total amount, which is 1, minus the total fraction spent, which is 31/40, and this gives us 9/40. When you work it out, this is the remaining fraction, and the remaining fraction is equivalent to a total of 12,000. This is now very simple, because 9/40 is the fraction that represents 12,330. What about the total amount, which is 1? 1 will be equal to what? If we cross multiply, we are going to have 1 times what? 12,330, which remains the same. Then we divide by 9 out of 40. From there we are going to have 12,330. We multiply by 40, divide by 9, and this one here is going to give us a total of how much? We take 12,330, we multiply by 40, we divide by 9, and this one is going to give us a total amount of 54,800. That is the total amount Kutu withdrew. But the question requires us to calculate what was paid as Tatu's school fees. Now, to get Tatu's fees, we are going to talk about the fraction that went to his fees, which is 2/5. We multiply by the total amount, which is 54,800, and this gives us a total of Kenya shillings. That is times that, divided by 5, we are going to get 21,920 Kenya shillings, and that is how that question is done. If you have any question regarding fractions, kindly visit the comment section and send your requests, and we will be glad to address them. Otherwise, thank you and enjoy your watching.